Hi, Taurus. So let's start off with the mentions. It's Kat Von D, Shade and Light palette, and Saint and Sinners on the eyes. And it is Supreme. They did a bunch of different drops. I went to the Public Enemy drop. That's where the Fear of the Black Planet sweater is from. And then this one is from the week before. You'll be seeing Supreme stuff throughout the April videos. So Taurus, let's get to it. Happy early birthday. It's almost your season. I know you want answers. Let me tell you something before we begin. It is easier to make up your mind than it is to change your mind. For the next few years, you will have to remember this as Uranus is coming into your sign. First two cards out, Three of Swords and the Lover's card. Okay, so we have a pretty good idea of how you guys are feeling and what's going on for you. If there's a Gemini in your life, they're causing you no small amount of heartbreak. The Three of Swords often where the light enters through the wound. So if you're feeling very wounded as Aries season begins, and if it has anything to do with a love situation, here you are. Let's see how the rest of the month pans out, because as we know, that's never where we stay. So what does it mean that Uranus is going to be coming into your sign? It means that it's going to be pulling Aries energy with it. And just like they're feeling pulled towards you, you're feeling the nagging sort of rushing that is Aries energy pushing on you, which makes your shoulders kind of go up a little. It makes you really uncomfortable. Now, what does that affect your love life? Sure, it does. Uranus is going to come into your sign now, and it's going to disrupt everything. It's going to break rules that you thought were sacred. It's going to not take from you what you think you can't live without. That's Saturn's job. It's more to revamp that which you are left with. And so you are a part of a greater cycle now of the planets' precession, where the next cycle will be Chiron moving into your sign once you're done being broken apart and reformed. That's where Aries finds themselves now. That's where you'll be headed. But before the cleansing and the healing comes the breaking and the wounding and the revamping. And so I think this is a Socratic saying that you cannot, it may be Aristotelian actually, you cannot replace that which does not work with just the opinion that that does not work. You need something more. You need something better to replace it. King of Cups. The King of Cups energy is coming up really strong in the Aries reading and now in your reading as well. So the water sign's definitely playing on you guys this month. And that makes sense because we do tend to want to be around the water signs when we feel the need for comfort. Four of Wands. So let's see here. Three of Swords, and then the Gemini card, the Lover's card, and then King of Cups, and now Four of Wands. So this looks to me like a misunderstanding that will resolve itself. This looks to me like you have misunderstood how that Gemini felt about you, and you realize they're not really that interested in you, and it's really hurt you, but you're over it, and you're moving towards this water sign now. Or you're realizing that it's not that the Gemini doesn't like you, it's just that you guys aren't compatible. And so you're moving now towards someone who seems much more compatible, someone much easier to get along with, and someone who in a lot of ways wants the same sort of productivity in life that you do. Whereas the Lover's card coming up here is kind of frivolous in comparison to the King of Cups. So the water sign holding a lot more gravity in your thoughts and just in your feelings, which kind of sucks for Gemini, but we'll get to that reading. All right, now, if you are watching for a Taurus that you are in love with, that you like, that you're into, and you are a water sign, the Four of Wands is coming up in your favor. If you are a Gemini or just someone who is in love with a Taurus, there is some pain going on with them. Whether that's been caused by you or not has yet to be revealed, but I feel like if you can take that into account about them and work with them when you know the bull is injured, do not poke it. King of Wands and Four of Pentacles, very strong energy of wanting it the way you want it and not wanting to budge. Remember what I said. It's easier to make up your mind than it is to change it. Right now, Uranus is going to have to change your minds in a month. And you know what that means? That means already you guys are being stubborn and being like, nope, no one's going to change my mind. Nope, I know what I know. And it's just a month away. And so you have this Four of Pentacles like, no, 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 I'm resistant to this change. I am not at all interested in this. But it's going to happen. And then Two of Wands, Knight of Swords, Nine of Wands. And the Two of Wands, the Knight of Swords, both cards of quite some speed. The Two of Wands is someone who has decided in their mind what they can and cannot deal with and what they're moving towards. And the Knight of Swords is speed towards that which you feel you are owed, speed towards that which you feel you need to address. It's a head-on sort of bull energy that you guys definitely appreciate. And it comes in here with the Nine of Wands as this sort of, okay, so you want to move, you want to make up your mind, you want to change your mind and move, but how do you want to do it? Which direction are we going in? So you pick a direction, you're pretty sure you want to go that way, right? You're looking out that way, you're riding that way, and yet somehow in your mind you're not quite sure if you have all that you need for the journey, but there it is. All of it is most certainly there. It's hard to read such a stubborn spread just because it's so painful to the person being stubborn, and it's really easy to pick up on that energy and feel bad, you know, like feel bad for the person you're reading for. Like, damn, there's a lot of stubbornness in this spread. And there is a stubbornness here. The Knight of Swords being very stubborn about what they feel is right and the way they feel things went and the way they feel that things have to go. The Four of Pentacles is very stubborn. It's about wanting to remain in a certain paradigm and not wanting to shift out no matter what's going on. The Nine of Wands is so stubborn that the person is refusing to see that which should be, in essence, very obvious to them because it's right behind them. The Knight of Wands is notorious for being a very stubborn card, although it is fire energy. I, for sure, like it's coming across like it's you. So your energy is very powerful and very directed. I'm just not sure if it's being directed in the right way because I don't think that you have all the information you need for it to be directed in the right way. I think that you're going with what you know, excuse me. I think you're going with what you know, and what you know is not all of it. And so again, we come back to the same thing. It's easier to make up your mind than it is to change your mind. And there are things that you have for sure made up your mind about. And everything, I'm telling you, everything is going to change now. Everything you think is so solid is going to be questioned and turned on its ear. And so, in the spirit of, excuse me, in the spirit of having an open mind and not having any preconceived notions, I feel like most of this spread is what you've already gone through. Let's do bottom of the deck and figure out what you're going to go through, because this just looks like what you've been through already. Or like what you're, not even what you've been through. You're like acting like you've been through it already, but you haven't. You're picking up on it. Your premonition of it is so strong that it's like you've already experienced it and you're making it real. It's interesting. You're kind of time bending right now, Taurus. Time bending Taurus. There we go. There's the title of the video. Because these are elements from your past, right? There is an element here of pulling or hooking the past into the future. And you're doing it on many levels. And I think Uranus is already giving you the electricity and the magic to get it done. And you have some pretty strong moon events. You have the Aries new moon and the Scorpio full moon. And I think here's where we get into where your reading really begins moving forward. What does the rest of April look like? The beginning of April is like you're just going through what you've already been through. And although there may be some back and forth essentially about a water sign now, it's much more, it's much easier because this is where the real pain and problem was the doubt about the Gemini. And so since that's out of the way, it seems like your other stubbornness, your other qualities are getting in your way, but at least that doubt isn't there. The full moon coming in and shining extreme light on all of this stuff and making you really for sure, for certain now, move away from an energy that you perhaps have harbored feelings for a long time, but you're realizing that those feelings were really an idea that you had created and not so much reality. And so now moving swiftly towards reality after the light of the moon showing you, the way. The Four of Cups, this process is not easy. It's a card that comes up a lot for you guys. I'm sorry. I apologize. I know it's frustrating. I know it's frustrating to have a fixed energy. Even if you know you have it, it's not easy to work with. But I would implore you here to look at where Aries and Sagittarius and Leo are in your chart so you can add some fire into this and find those places within yourself where the fire is raging. And so you can take the pressure off of this part of you that is nostalgic, that does like to revel in the past, that does feel the hurts and pains of the past as if they're happening now. Because I think this card is coming up here as a way to show you what is impeding your progress. Whenever you try to leave this stuff behind, because you can clearly see, especially through kind of cosmic help and guidance, you can clearly see what you need to move away from. There is this element within you that keeps you from being able to do so. It pulls you back. It is loyal. It is nostalgic. It is fixed. It is sentimental. It is emotional. It is deep feeling and extremely sensitive. And so these two are very at odds with each other. This is someone who has decided that regardless of what has happened, it is time to take what can be salvaged and go, cut and run. And this is someone, although the situation has ended for quite some time, is still not able to cut and run and is still waiting sort of for those cups to come back to life, or for someone, whoever gave those cups to him, to come back and offer them again. And in the meantime, the cup that's being offered by divine intervention, this is the cup of the aces. This is the hand that comes out of nowhere. This is the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups is being readily ignored. It's right in front of his face, but he can't see it. So what is this talking about? This is you understanding the message, receiving the knowledge, downloading the appropriate things to make the right choices and cut the people off and cut the situations off and move into something better for yourself. And yet you are sabotaged. Sabotaged by what? Sabotaged by your own nature, your own inability to move forward into the future and move out of the past and move forward into embracing that which is readily given to you as opposed to that which has to be fought for. You are now locked in this battle with yourself in April, and I think the reasoning for it is because there's a greater message of love that stands to be set to you after you figured this out. There is someone or something that is dying to reach out to you, and I do think that it is a fiery energy, and that energy really, really wants to be open about how they feel about you, but they are very, very conflicted. And I think Aries season makes everyone even more conflicted. I think right now, the amount of power you display should be quiet. I think right now is the time to understand and admit that you are standing in your own way. I think it's time to understand and admit that it's very hard for you to turn around and see what's going on around you. I think it's very easy to stay in the Two of Swords energy right now if you choose to. But if that is your particular method of hiding, I assure you there are easier ones. And yet, even if you hide, this person is coming to find you. And you can be as conflicted as you want about that, but when it's time for us to fall in love, we fall in love. Now, that hasn't worked out for you very well, I understand that. But new beginnings are on their way. This moon, be very careful around the Aries new moon and the Scorpio full moon, because you will find out the things you need to know once and for all to leave behind that which is not really good for you. It's bad for you. You will be able to. However, it's hard for you to let go of the idea of whatever you thought was going to happen here, regardless of what the reality is. And that's what this card is all about. It's about not being able to see the reality because you're living in a sentimentality about the past and a nostalgia. So that's what we want to avoid. We want to avoid this sort of time bending, Taurus. We want to do another sort of time bending. Let's time bend in a positive way instead of pulling it all back and using our enormous gravitas and enormous amount of feeling and energy to pull a situation back to that time that we liked. Why not push the thing forward? Why not push the thing forward and bend time in your favor future-wise so you can have all the things and do all the things and be with the peoples and all the stuffs? All right? It's so quick. Usually the Taurus readings are so much slower. I just feel like you guys are like, come on, give it to me. Is this what I need to know? So we'll do some clarifying. Let me tell you now what I'll clarify in the extended. We'll do the moon, obviously the lovers, the Four of Wands, the Emperor, and the Strength card. And then we'll do a new shuffle for mid-April going into May. The extended is available through the link that's coming up here, where you go to my website and you click extended readings, and there you are. You can buy them, you can rent them, you can stream them, you can download them. It's all instant. Or if you prefer waiting for a link and you want to go through the Shopify link, that's below too. Taurus, next month is your month. We're going to do a Taurus manifestation video, a May manifestation video about how to use manifestation techniques with Taurus energy. I'm really looking forward to it. It will be your, looking forward to it and to you. It will be your birthday gift. I wish you the best. Let's get out of Mercury season, retrograde season, in beautiful, beautiful, successful pieces. All right? Love you. See you in May.